Hi, and welcome to the tutorial about how to submit a budget to the executive office. Now, you want to make a note of a couple of things. First, the only security role that can submit a budget to the executive office would be a department budget approver. If you do not have this security right, you are unable to submit the budget. Additionally, when we say submitting the budget to the executive office, it really isn't an actual shipping of information from your department over to the executive office. What the base system does is it takes your budget, which will currently be under the requested scenario, and it changes into a format called recommended, which once the executive office sees, they begin making changes to that scenario on their side. So while we say we want you to submit your budget, it really isn't any kind of movement in the budget. It is just changing the scenario so that the executive office can perform the functions that it needs to perform to prepare the final recommendations for the board and to prepare the final budget document. And in essence, that is shifting from the requested scenario over to the recommended. So with those items in mind, I like to go ahead and get started. So to submit a budget to the executive office, you're going to go to departments, and the function will be under department processes, and you're going to go to the department send to EO. Now keep in mind, again, you have to have the department budget approver security role in order to do this. You will add a new value. We're going to call it submit EO budget. We're going to click add. Now you can, again, similar to some of the other tutorials that we've had about payroll calculator, you have the option of either submitting the entire department budget, which it's not the department option, it's the business unit option, or you can submit individual departments, which if you have multiple people working on a budget and they like to submit them separately instead of as a unit, they can use this department option. Best practices would be to submit as a budget unit and have everyone kind of coordinate when they're sending it. Keep in mind that if you choose to have individuals work on this budget and they accidentally submit business unit as opposed to department units, they will submit the entire budget for your department, which means that those of your employees that have not completed making budget changes will not be able to input that information. So you want to be a little careful about this. Worst case scenario, the executive office will have to send the budget back so that the changes can be made. When we say send the budget back, that means return the scenario from recommended into a requested. Because we're using best practices, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the business unit option. I'm going to select executive office, and I am then going to run the process. And again, this is changing from requested to recommended scenario, which takes me to the next screen. I'm not going to make any changes here, but I'm going to say OK. Now, the most important part of this is to make sure that your submission happens successfully. There have been times when there's some type of problem within the system, and a department may think that it has submitted its budget when in fact there has been some kind of error that has prevented these scenarios from changing from requested to recommended. So how you will check that is how you do with so many of the processes that you run within the system. You can either click this process monitor link, or you can go to the report tools menu, click on process monitor, and it will give you a list of functions. Now notice that we've got the board BD underscore RV underscore send form, and it has successfully posted. So that means that the actual budget has actually successfully posted. So this concludes the tutorial for how to send a budget to the executive office.